What up? What is up? Welcome to a very unique, and I almost said special edition of Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. And you're correct. These are not the dulcet tones of the Black Banshee, and sitting across from me is not Captain Rest Assured tonight. Air Force One has been hijacked, Harrison Ford style.
I can get you $5 million to get my family out of that house.
Boy, Harrison Ford, while he tries to pay $5 million to recover Jason and Blake, who intended fully to go on a vacation, if you listen to our last episode, someone was going to the anal doctor and the other one was going to Costa Rica.
In Cuba
was
as
it
well.
Cuba?
Cuba as well.
It just seems like a lot to fit into one vacation.
I agree.
Well, let me introduce myself for a moment. If you have listened to Couch Pilots over the last few years,
You have undoubtedly heard this person's voice before.
you have heard my voice before. My name is Matt. Along the way, some have called me Matt Abercrombie. Some have called me Nice Matt. I've even been called Sister Matt. But we won't go there.
I'll call you Brother Matt.
That'll work. I feel like that's an upgrade, given my genitalia.
I feel like it's on par with what you were assigned.
That'll work. And my co-pilot for this flight, and you've heard his voice as well before, the very funny, the very talented, co-host of Karaoke Biggie, one Mr. Kebmo Slice. Kebmo, how are you tonight?
I am doing great. How's your weekend? This past weekend, huh?
Elongated. I took Friday off. We got Monday here off to observe Martin Luther King.
Well, not necessarily.
That's right. I just blew.
You blew the cover. He blew the cover. Where is it? Matt, how was your weekend?
My weekend was outstanding. I got to spend a lot of quality time with my family. My own grandmother came down. She decided that she would watch the kids. My wife and I went out on the town.
Where'd you go?
Okay. So we did everything from 8-bit to a wedding.
To a wedding.
I'm telling you. And I know that's your roots, is it not?
I'm a big wedding guy. I'm a wedding DJ myself.
Well, we talked about this. We talked about this, not all that long ago. You're good for at least 15 weddings a year.
Probably around that.
Shoot.
Around that. Yeah, it's a lot of weddings.
Do you ever
a lot
get
of weddings?
Does a wedding from the past stand out to you?
Who asked me this? Gosh. I had somebody ask me this very recently, and they were like, I'm sorry if this is an inappropriate question, but have you ever done a black wedding? And I said, that's not inappropriate at all. And I have done a half-black wedding. Yes, I have. Where the groom was an African-American gentleman, and the bride was a Caucasian lady.
Sure.
And there are massive differences because the culture is different. I mean, there's no denying that the culture in general is different.
Yep.
When it comes to where they were raised and whatnot, and this particular person was raised in a very much Black American culture. Yep. And it was, I think I want to say, one of the more fun weddings I've ever done. I like to partake in the dancing.
So you're not only behind the board.
Oh yeah.
But you find yourself out on the floor.
See,
they gotta love that.
The thing is, when there is not much going on out there, I get out there and people are like, okay, even the DJs, but, and I always ask the couple beforehand. I say, hey, is it okay if I get out there? Yeah, please. If there's not a lot of people out there, get out there.
And they're just ushering you on out there.
Yeah, and so I'm happy about that.
Would you say you saw more of like the cultural blend in the wedding itself, or once you got to the reception?
Oh, once we got to the reception, it was great. It was great. I mean,
it's
it's not anything that's new, blending the two cultures together. Indeed. So it was one of the more fun weddings I did. But I do a lot for my friends and family members and whatnot, and that's equally as fun, maybe even more fun sometimes, because you get to see your friends and you get to hang out with them and dance on the dance floor. Like, sometimes I won't even go back to my computer to, switch up the playlist or whatever. I'll set a good 5 songs, and I'm like, I'm gonna go dance out there for a while because I know I got some good ones going. So
ask me how many weddings I've been in.
How many weddings have you been in?
Plus or minus 400 weddings.
Stood up in.
I'm not kidding.
You were a friend. You're a friend.
At one point, I thought it legitimately crossed my mind. I'm going to start charging. I could make an honest living out of this.
Yeah, my wife's good friend Nina. She is a
same gal,
bridesmaid forever. She's married now, so it's like it's not always a bridesmaid.
That's what I'm saying. Like she's always buying a dress, but never the gown. Yep.
She got married a year and a half ago or something like that. So everybody was super happy about her getting married. She had, I think, 1 or 2 bridesmaids and 1 or 2 groomsmen.
Mercy.
Yeah, because she's like,
I've done this.
Let's not mess.
Let's not overcomplicate this. Let's not overcomplicate this
because she knows how it gets when it's overcomplicated.
So I literally got to the point where I said to myself, and I had to talk with my wife about this.
Yeah.
I said the next person who asks, even if they're like next of kin to me, I may have to find a way
to decline.
To decline.
Can't do it.
That's right, Iron Mike Singletary. I might have had to say, can't do it. I may not have gone as far as to drop my trowel when I said it. That's not lost on you, is it, Kevin?
Of course it isn't.
Do you want to help our listeners who may or may not follow NFL? I don't know. NFL lore, sure.
Yeah, NFL lore for sure.
Because this is historical. What he did.
Iron Mike Singletary.
You bet.
He famous for being a linebacker for the Chicago Bears.
You got it.
Super Bowl winning team.
85 Bears.
85 Bears for sure, and a little bit before and a little bit after. And he, I can't remember his verse in the Super Bowl Shuffle. It was something, he said Iron Mike, though. Whatever.
Yeah.
The only one I know.
That's where he got it. He got it from the. Okay.
Exactly. The only one I know is the Fridges one. They call me Fridge. I am the rookie, William Perry.
William Perry.
I may be large, but I'm no dumb cookie. And then also there's Walter Payton. He's they call me Sweetness, and I like to dance, running the ball just like I'm making romance.
What a man!
Like all those,
like
are
a
so
man's
great.
Man, though.
Definitely.
The closest thing you get in Bears, I don't know, would it be Thomas Jones? I know he's not
TJ.
Yeah,
I loved TJ.
But having 2 first names like
Thomas
kind
Jones,
of, and then he's what a man.
Yeah. Thomas Jones, he was great for a while. He was really good he was on the Jets. Is he still in the league? I feel like he might. I don't think probably not. He probably retired with the Jets, right?
I feel like everybody retires after they go to. Everybody retires. That was for the NFL list. Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
For the NFL folks.
We're heavily sports oriented, whereas the regular hosts of this show are not. So I apologize if we're going off the rails a little bit on the sports. But Matt, we are here to do a job today, right? Aren't we?
Yes, sir. We are here to tee up for you as well as cover the time tunnel. As
you can see in the episode title. That is what we are covering today.
Yes, sir.
But before we get to our pilot that we're covering today, I want to jump into some fan feedback.
Please, go right ahead.
So the Twitter account, of course, is it's the Couch Pilots Twitter account. Excuse me, not my Twitter account personally, but it's Couch Pilots Pod at Couch Pilots Pod, and we have some feedback from our Twitter. The Couch Pilots Hour, the Royal Hour.
That's right.
We are the pilots this week.
We really are. This plane will fly or not.
Fun fact. A co-pilot is actually just a pilot.
Sure.
Like it's not like, hey, you're at the bar. You're a pilot. You're with your co-pilot at the bar. Hey, yeah, I'm a pilot. Yeah. This year, this is my co-pilot.
Professional co-pilot.
Oh no, I'm a pilot too.
Yeah.
I'm a pilot too.
Yeah.
It just depends on who says it first.
Is it because of so I don't know too much about. Is it redundancy, right? So if something were to happen to the pilot, somebody's got to fly this plane.
For some reason.
I almost said, but I needed a drop for that. Can someone fly this plane who didn't have the fish? No. That's from Airplane.
Oh.
That was bad.
Yes,
I didn't warn him. I didn't warn him.
No,
anybody.
I get that.
I didn't warn him.
I have a drinking problem, and he spills the water all over himself. Yeah, we all get that. So, the Couch Pilots podcast Twitter, we had a not a tweet directed at the Couch Pilots podcast, but it says any podcast suggestions, and I'm on a podcast called Karaoke Biggie, and my co-host, he always replies to these tweets. He searches the words on Twitter, podcast suggestions, and then replies to them like, yes, me.
This one.
Yeah. The one that I am tweeting from.
The one that I'm tweeting from.
Jason, I had told Jason, the Black Magnet, I think close to a couple months ago, he was thinking about getting a Twitter or something. I'm like, no, just use the one that you already have.
Yeah.
And just go off and tweet weird stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen that recently, haven't
no
you?
doubt.
Just the weird stuff.
It's become a little bit more, I don't know.
It's more
candid?
him.
Yeah, it's more, you bet.
It's more him, and less just like episodes and stuff like that.
Sure.
So somebody said, Maya at _naturally Maya says, any podcast suggestions? And we retweeted that with no.
But if they were savvy, they'd realize that it came from a podcast that was also telling them no, right?
Correct. Also, Jesse Gwynn, the weatherman, one of the weathermen on WEEK.
I saw this one.
NBC. Yep. He tweets out, Burr at 25 News WEEK, hashtag ILWX. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure what the WX is, but just...
I think it's short. I think it's Illinois weather. I think that's what he's doing.
Weather, yeah, WX weather. Okay.
Yep.
It's just and then it's a picture of the current temperatures
it's a
and
reach
wind
to
chill,
throw the
right?
X in there.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but I guess weather people get it.
Sure.
Couch Pilots Podcast, our handle, tweets at my personal handle, at KevMoSlice. Check out these unreal temps. I say, holy cow.
Yep.
Couch Pilot says, right? I hope your furnace is working.
And we're back.
So that's the fan feedback that I have for this week.
We really covered a lot of ground there.
Yes, we did. A lot of sports.
A lot of sports.
And guess what? When you get you and I together, I think that's a main
There's
topic
no
of
chance it
conversation.
won't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we just pause for a moment because I feel like we glossed over this. From the last episode, Blake and Jason shared that they were going to be going on vacation.
Correct.
However,
yes.
I can understand the concern with the Harrison Ford drop and him trying to recover them for $5 million. I know there's some uncertainty here, but I do believe that one or both of them were either apprehended.
That's what I was under the
That's what
impression
you.
of.
Okay.
Before we hit the record button.
Before we hit the record button, Kevin and I were given a call. They said, "We know you guys are going to take Air Force One up tonight. We wanted to let you know that both Blake and Jason, Jason, I should say, their whereabouts are unknown."
And then I was thinking it was going to say they are safe, but it ended up being exactly the opposite of that.
Exactly.
They are not safe, and we don't know where they are.
So not only Blake may or may not have anal cancer,
correct,
but he may be without means of getting treatment because God knows where he is.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that Harrison Ford was willing to jump in. I thought he was, I don't know.
Is he? He's alive, huh? He still is, yeah.
Well,
and when it comes to flying, he doesn't really have the best luck. So I don't know why we're even thinking of Harrison
constantly
Ford, you know
looking for his family.
And he's crashed a plane twice, if I'm not mistaken.
At least. So, but you know what?
You know those stories, right?
I do. Well,
he's crashed a plane at least twice. Did you not know that?
You mean in his real life?
In his honest to God life.
All the more reason to make it a little bit more peculiar why he would volunteer to recover Jason and Blake. And also,
he's going to crash that plane.
Also, sure. Like once he does get them and try to extract them, once they're up in the air,
what's going to happen?
God knows what could happen.
What's going to happen?
But $5 million, is that too much for these guys? Or is that right?
Valuing.
I didn't want to ask.
Valuing one's life.
Mm-hmm.
My wife asked me one time. It had been 4 or 5 months since we had our dog, our puppy dog. Mm-hmm. She said, if somebody were to give you an amount of money to take Gus, my puppy, away from us, what would it be? And I said, well, that's unfair. I want to hear your answer first. And she was like, you couldn't. None. No money.
She's saying amount of money.
I'm like $100 billion.
Where are they taking them? To a to a good home?
Away,
to a good life?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Away from you.
I see.
Away from you. $100 billion, I guess, she says. $100 million? No, probably not. $100 billion.
Billion.
I guess.
With a B.
I said, how much should we get him for? $800? I'd probably sell him for like $650.
Let me guess. She loved that one.
Loved it.
Oh, married life.
Like what? We've had him for 4 or 5 months. Yeah. He depreciated in value a little bit.
Well, let me ask you that. But so maybe that's a good way to segue.
I do love my dog.
Well, I was going to say, I would say our dog, who's been with us for 11 years now, was our first baby. My wife called him that the other night.
Yeah.
But he's definitely taken a back seat. We've got a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old in the house right now.
Yeah.
And so Boomer's looking at me like, hey, what the heck, man?
Yeah. 2-month-old here, and Gus is definitely taking a backseat, and he understands it, which I don't feel bad for him anymore because he gets it.
Yep.
But I could see feeling bad for a dog that weighs probably more than you weigh.
He's 130 pounds, soaking wet.
That's more than I weighed when I graduated high school.
You know, it's funny.
I weighed 125 pounds when I graduated high school. Guess how much I weigh now? How I weigh?
Oh, I can't do that.
Just guess.
You're gonna force me.
I gained at least 100 pounds. I'll give you that.
From what? From the 130?
125.
From the 125? Yeah. 240.
Yeah, about.
Is it?
About.
Okay.
About.
I've been sizing you up all night.
I can tell.
Just in case this podcast went south.
I can tell by the pinpoint guess there.
You know, the jokes were running amok. I think Blake was really trying to poke at whether performance anxiety is a real thing. You try to harness it.
Yeah.
Anybody who's trying to do something outside of their normal comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I think the vibe that my over-preparedness was making maybe Blake nervous himself.
Oh, yes.
But
Very much
I would
so.
challenge him to look at any space in my life and find out where I'm not over-prepared to, probably to a fault.
To a fault in some points, yeah.
Sure.
I agree.
With that all...
I agree in my own life as well.
You've seen it in yourself?
Yes, for sure.
You know what?
But I was born on stage also, so that's the difference.
I had the chance. I can't remember who it was, but I was giving them the real quick rundown on yourself, and I was like, this guy likes to do the things that people hate to do.
Yeah,
put himself out in front of others and thrive in it.
How
did you get there, man?
Absolutely no idea.
Did you feel like you backed into it, or was somebody model it for you? Were your mom or your dad outgoing?
They've always been good with people, and they like people. My dad's an outside sales guy. He's been a sales guy his whole life. I mean, he could sell... I don't want to say ice to an Eskimo because that one's a good... Somebody said something the other day that was really good. He could sell blank to a blank.
Right.
I'll edit it and put...
I was going to say, could you sub in those words?
I'll sub it in
but with Harrison Ford's voice.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. And we're back.
And we're back.
So what do we have to do now?
I think we just have to make sure...
strict instructions on
No,
what to do?
they, as a matter of fact...
do whatever the hell you want.
Basically. And I think even when Jason and I were having that conversation, he seemed a little bit...
Didn't want to tell you anything.
Well, kind of, because he seemed a little discouraged that he's like, oh, so you guys are just going to do a normal show. I promise you, listeners, that we have nothing of any sort of a normal show for you this evening.
Definitely. The coughs per minute are going to be... maybe at 0.2.
The wheezing.
They're going to, the coughs per minute are down big time.
I often think that Blake is getting ready to have some...
Not dying from ass cancer, but dying from something
massive
else.
Respiratory attack.
You're not alone.
No.
You're not alone.
And Jason, the poise in which he handles these events, like I'd be looking for an AED. Like if I was sitting right here in this...
episode.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, it is a little bit alarming to me with the $4 billion that it costs to build Air Force One, that there is no AED in there here. Is none. As a matter, and not only that, but he's flying the plane. Like,
Yeah. Well, as you know, as we're going to do in this episode, you get it up, right?
Yep.
You get it up.
I would get it up. You will make sure everything in the middle is done.
And then you would bring it back down, right?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's at least the plan here from the outset. So why don't we go ahead and transition straight into boarding?
Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
So Kevin, as we check the cabin and get these wheels off the ground here very shortly, tonight we introduce our listeners to The Time Tunnel, a remake of the series from the 1960s, recreated in 2002, and finally the remake airs in 2006. Maybe a little bit different than how Jason and Blake handle it. But Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you for this next portion.
Correct.
What we would call the In Our Minds portion.
Okay, so 2006 is when this airs, right?
You bet.
And we cannot judge this pilot properly in 2019. It's 2019.
Somehow.
If you can believe it, right?
I choose not to.
I choose not to as well. So 2006 is 13 years ago?
And we are back.
We're back. So it occurred to me that 2006 is actually 13 years ago.
There you go.
So we can't judge this pilot in 2019 standards, so we have to go back to 2006 in our minds to properly digest this pilot. So, Matt, I have some pop culture references for you. In 2006, there were plenty of things. By the way,
Sure.
2006, how old is a Matthew Phillips in 2006?
Matthew Phillips in 2006 would be 24 years old, the last full year of my single life.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow. I was also single in 2006.
Yes, sir.
I was 16 years old.
Holy.
It's pretty
Sweet 16, folks.
Sweet 16. You got that drop, right? You do.
Oh, hold on. No, it's...
Oh, you have it? You have that drop? Yeah.
Can't do it.
2006, Google buys YouTube for $1.6 billion.
Good grief.
I can't believe that was in 2006.
Relatively speaking, that's like the value of what Harrison Ford is trying to pay for Jason and Blake.
It's about
like
that.
If you scale it.
It's about that.
1.6.
I feel like that was way more recent than 2006.
It definitely does.
Google buying YouTube.
It definitely does feel like that.
I remember being looking at YouTube a lot, in my early 20s, which 20s happened in 2010. So I was born in 1990, so it's a nice round year. So everything that 2006, I was 16.
Yep.
So I remember it happening a lot more recently.
I would agree with that. I feel like we
2006.
were already immersed into, I'll call it YouTube culture.
Yeah, for sure.
Uploading, downloading, you name it, folks in their living room with a guitar. I mean, the whole thing.
iPad,
Yeah.
iPod, I don't even know anymore.
When did it all begin?
New Horizons probe is sent to Pluto for the first high-resolution images of the dwarf planet. Pluto's not a planet anymore, my friend.
So it is waxed and waned, if you will. There's a
Correct.
moon reference for you. It's waxed and waned from being a planet, the ninth planet, probably when you and I, even though
Correct.
You're separated,
Definitely.
we were taught that it was
Yeah.
the ninth planet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And since
Still
they've
is in my mind.
that's exactly right.
Still my planet.
And since then, I feel like they've gotten a little cute. And not only have they
Dwarf
not,
planet.
that's exactly right. Not only have they taken it away as a planet, but then they've spent probably close to $1 billion trying to probe the thing.
I don't get it. Just get some aliens, dude. They'll probe it. If we know anything from our
If
neighbors
we-
to the
we
south,
knew, that's it.
you
if
just
we could
get some aliens to probe it.
Contract some aliens to probe this thing,
That's it.
and we just might be save ourselves.
So
a
we
few
got
bucks.
some high resolution images. Who cares? Other news, sports.
Yeah, let's get back.
Exciting.
Let's get back to
Sports.
our what would they call it?
Forte.
Yeah, our bread basket.
Matt Forte.
That's right.
He ran for 1,000 yards. Did you know that?
Who did?
Matt Forte. Barry Bonds breaks the home run record in 2006 that was set previously by Mark McGwire.
I've seen a lot of disturbing
And
things.
before
Yeah.
that was set by Roger Maris. And before that,
Hanks?
it was Babe Ruth.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
Not in that I wouldn't have been able to do that rundown, but
I
I
was 8 years old when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going.
when they
at
were
it.
dueling it.
So that is your son. He's 3.
He's 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Once he gets to be about 8, he's gonna know more than you know about sports.
I believe that.
That's how I was.
He's
with my dad.
hardwired for it, though.
I
You
know.
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
that's
it's gonna
my
just get
dad was the same way. So
He's hardwired for it. I was going to say one of the more disturbing things I've ever seen in my life. I've seen some disturbing things.
okay. Sammy Sosa's skin color change.
Oh gosh. Now,
He's like a Neapolitan ice cream bar, right?
Yeah.
He was brown, then he turned white, and now he's
it
pink.
had a very.
He's pink as shrimp.
I haven't seen him more recent.
Don't look it up, dude. Don't look it up.
I'm not trying to afflict
My
that
expert
kind of
advice.
right.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Onto
Anyways.
myself.
What is the thing that you've seen?
2 baseball cards. Let me use 1990.
Okay.
For example, I think it's
Yeah.
probably when Bonds is coming in the
Yeah,
league, something
around
like
the
that.
late 80s.
To his 2000 something, let's say 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And if you put those baseball cards side by side,
Yeah.
and not
He's a
only does
beanpole.
well, he's a beanpole, but if you want to see the effects of drugs, children, or scare your children into not using them,
Yeah.
I would show them. Here's the thing. I didn't know that performance-enhancing drugs would affect the size of his dome.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
Gigantic.
It's almost like he got a head transplant.
It seems as if
which
he
we're
did.
still struggling with that in 2018. But
Yeah.
what money can buy you?
Yeah, no, he
Maybe that's
he
what he got.
swolled up like the Stay Puft.
Maybe that's what he got for
Marshmallow Man.
breaking the home run record. Was a head
A
transplant.
free head, a new head. Mr. Bonds, your dad played in the league and wasn't as good as you, and you broke the home run record. You get to take your father's head and add it onto the side.
Here's
of
your new
yours.
noggin.
Significant news in 2006, 1 billionth song is purchased on iTunes. Now it's all streaming. So there's no purchasing music anymore. It's done, right?
99
There's no buying
cents.
music.
There's these subscriptions now.
That's it.
And once
That's all I use.
Once you pay the $3.99 or whatever they want,
Yeah,
here's an entire world's worth of
That's
a
it.
music catalog.
that's it.
And that's what you said. That's what I
Sucks.
use.
Yeah, it
to
sucks
ti-
for artists.
Oh, for
I
sure.
hate
Oh, for
using
sure.
it for that reason.
Yeah.
It's like
Got a soft spot for
well,
the artist.
it's like a vegetarians. It's like, yeah, I understand why you're vegetarian for humanity reasons.
Yep.
The same reason why I understand people don't use streaming services. Like, yeah, I get it, but I have to. You know. I
Oh,
just
so do you
have
think
to.
some folks take a stance and don't use the streaming service
Especially
on behalf?
musicians don't.
I could see that.
Like musicians
Yeah.
themselves do not. And I actually struggled with it for a little bit.
Really?
I was walking that line where I don't want to do that. But then also, everybody promotes their stuff on Spotify now. Everybody promotes their stuff on Apple Music. They're getting paid at some point.
They found a way to make
figured
money.
it out.
They
I
found a way to
think.
make money.
And
well,
they
you
will.
got-
And they will.
You had to find a way to for 15 plus weddings a year.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't be sitting back there
No, exactly.
paying 99 cents a song
Yeah, I know.
because they want.
Except for if anybody wants Garth Brooks.
You got plenty of it.
I'm SOL.
Oh,
dude.
you really?
He's off of
What
the
about
streaming
Michael
platforms.
Gaines? What was his
Michael Gaines? Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines?
Actually, I have plenty of Chris Gaines.
Really?
So we're covered. No problem.
because what if they wanted his alias, right? They don't want any Garth Brooks.
they want some Brooks. I give them Gaines. Okay?
That's as good.
That's what you're.
That's as close as you
that's
can.
that's as good as you're gonna get.
That's as close as you can get.
Yes. So, Matthew, I will turn to you. What are the 3 requirements to why we watched this show in general? Of course, the Time Tunnel coming out in 2006. What are the 3
bet.
requirements?
You bet. So we kept this piece intact. Number one, it had to be free. Speaking of money, we're spending all this money trying to recover
Stream
Jason
music.
and Blade
And stream music.
and stream music. These things don't pay for themselves.
They don't.
It had to be available online. We talked about YouTube already.
Correct.
That's the source, right?
That's the source. That's it. The main source.
And it had to be, and this one's a bit tricky for the Time Tunnel, but we're going to go ahead and let it stand. It had to be an episode that only aired one time and was not preceded by any other episodes. It had to be a failed pilot.
Correct.
Did I get them?
You got them.
Hot dang.
Those are the 3.
Hot
Those
dang.
are the 3 pillars. And where can you watch the Time Tunnel, Matthew?
You can find the entire episode of the current pilot by subscribing to Couch Pilots in SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of the classically blue links in the show notes. Jason often struggles with that.
He does.
It's the whole taking a breath piece.
You took a lot of breath there, and it showed, and it was flawless. Could I say?
It's Jeff Goldblum is my spirit animal.
What's his one? What's that Jeff Goldblum line?
Which one? Are we talking
We
about
must-
like Jurassic Park?
Yeah, he says like one thing.
Well, he pauses a lot, right?
What
he's
is
like,
the thing? There's one
Are you talking about
iconic line.
Portlandia?
No, there's one iconic line. The doily scene.
Well, he's
the doily
no,
store.
he's the no.
Doily. He's a doily salesman.
I'm
in
sure
one
sure
episode.
he is.
In
He's
the
the
first
mattress
season.
king. You remember that?
That was-
no,
that's probably
the
season-
pullout king.
Pull-out king. Yeah. And
he
in
goes-
season 2 or 3 or something.
He's like,
that.
I feel like you guys are talking about something very very personal. I'm the pullout king. And so there seems to be some kind of clash in understanding.
Yeah, I
But
believe that.
Did you find what you were looking for there?
It's the best one. I can't think of it.
This is Jurassic Park.
It
I
is.
grew up on that.
It is, and he says something that's like, it's I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Figure it out by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lay a drop on that because I want to hear it.
Like I said, or like you said, well, you didn't even finish it. It's classically blue links in the show notes or
on YouTube. And Kevin,
you know what to do, tube.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Now, there's a thing that they say, classically blue links.
Yeah.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I'm going back, I think, a few years here, a year and a half maybe. Jason had pointed out that the links are not, in fact, classically blue on Apple Podcasts.
Is it?
Passionately fuchsia is the correct term.
What about like cerulean? Is that in the neighborhood? No, blue-ish?
Is it? No, it's more purple.
It's more,
it's
more
passionately fuchsian. Passionately fuchsia. Excuse me.
I am passionately fusion. I guess what I would say
Asian fusion.
Welcome to our Asian fusion episode.
Summary of the pilot.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Today we review the 2006 pilot The Time Tunnel, directed by Todd Holland, never heard of him.
Never heard.
And starred in by David Conrad, who I didn't recognize, but apparently had a few roles in some bigger productions like Wedding Crashers, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I think is more recent. Have you caught any of that?
I got to be honest with you. I went on IMDb to check out the actors in this. Did not look at the rating. Right. Made sure I had my wife.
Oh, sure. You were actively
so I could say,
avoiding it.
Let me see what this guy's in.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I didn't recognize him from anything. I looked at the photos portion on IMDb, and I didn't recognize him from anything.
You know what?
David Conrad, great guy. I don't know.
Just seemed like, I'm sure he's a great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, we'll probably have him on. He kind of has that chiseled agent look to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
He fits.
He fits the build for this particular role, I'd say.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
That works. You want me to go ahead and break right into the summary?
Yeah. Let's hear the summary.
Okay. In 2006.
Now let me prepare the listeners.
Please.
This is a lengthy summary.
Too long.
I don't know where our trusty Captain Black gets his summaries.
Oh, I didn't either. So I grabbed this.
This is straight from IMDb, right?
Is that how you say it?
I think that's how it is. They say IMDb all the time, but
I've been saying it all wrong.
Yeah, it's IMDb. So you grabbed it from there, and that is true. I will let you uninterrupted. I will not interrupt you during this summary. I can tell you.
I'm going to try to do this in one
I'm going to
breath.
do a reverse bump.
Oh, you want me to read this backwards?
No. I'm going to do a reverse bump on this summary already.
A reverse bump?
I'm going to say.
How does that work?
It gets one grade lower because of how long it is. Anyways.
Shoot.
But
I see what you're saying.
I'm going to grade. I'm going to grade the summary. I'm going to grade the summary. After you read
here's
it.
what I'm not going to be surprised by. If after I read this,
a low grade?
And just, for our folks, if it's not been unclear, we've already explained we don't know the whereabouts of Blake, but I can tell you, after I read this, he will probably pass away.
He probably will.
He's not even in the room to hear this, but this will be what kills him. In 2006, an experiment of the Department of Energy in hot fusion to produce energy releases a storm in time along 240 minutes, changing history. Only the personnel in the core of the laboratory know the true story, and now they need to fix points in history that have been punctually changed. The bureaucrat and former Marine Doug Phillips is a family man that is recruited by his friend Flynn to join an expedition to 1944 due to its great knowledge of the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest in Germany. The team formed by Doug, Flynn, Tony Newman, J.D. and Wicks is assigned to find a monk from 1546 that has been accidentally transported to the spot and is the carrier, wait for it, of the Black Plague.
I can confirm Blake has passed. God rest his soul.
Is this the moment of silence? Is this what we did? That's long enough.
That's a moment of silence. That was a moment.
That felt too long.
So that is that summary I feel like we don't need to break down the pilot with that summary, right? I mean, that is it.
Especially with with the 10. We should warn our listeners tonight that we will not be abiding by the 10-minute.
No, we aren't. We are not. No.
With that said, mercy.
I think we could probably
do it.
We could probably do it
minutes.
in 2 with that summary.
Yeah, no kidding. But we'll try to extract.
So you know what? Pretend like you didn't hear Matt just say that whole summary, because we're going to break it down anyways, right?
Just fast forward through it.
Not quite yet.
Go back and fast forward through it.
Yeah, go back and fast forward through it.
Pretend you didn't hear it.
Why did we choose the time tunnel? Other than the 3 criteria.
Other than the 3 criteria.
Why did you specifically choose it? We went through 2 pilots, and I was ultimately going to let you pick it anyways because I watched them all.
He's watched them all. And
it's been discussed on this show.
So
whenever they say, "Oh, Kevin watches them," that's me. I watch all the pilots because I have more recently in life I've had a more busy life, but I'm on the road a lot for my job.
Yep.
And when I sit in the hotel, there's only so many times you can be jerking your gherkin in the hotel, and like that you are left with 7 or so hours.
You don't mean in the lobby?
Oh, no, in the lobby. That's what I'm saying.
Jerking the gherkin
in the lobby.
In the lobby.
Correct. So
you are flirting with Disaster, my friend.
Was that her name? Disaster?
That's a different story.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. But there's only so much that I can do when I'm in the hotel where I go out, I have dinner and a few beers, and I get back to the hotel and I'm like,
you're tapped out.
I'm tapped out. I can't continue.
Turn it off on dry.
I can't continue to rub myself so vigorously that I start a fire. So I watch these pilots. And I asked Jason and I clicked the Classically Blue links for the episode in the following Monday, so I can watch them ahead of time.
It really is amazing. And I don't say this in jest. That is quite the commitment and honor.
Starting a fire?
Oh, were we talking about? I was still on the...
Oh, watching the pilots. Yeah, no, it's dumb.
I was on the gherkin part.
Okay, gotcha.
I have never seen nor heard of that kind of commitment. That you would start a fire. I would highly suggest
get it checked
that
out,
you
probably.
also see
the ass cancer doctor. Yeah, but I
at the very least,
it's very dumb for me to watch all of them. But so I kind of let you decide which one.
Did. Yeah, he was very gracious about it.
So why did you decide this one? I mean, I can't imagine that you watched like a bunch of them. You kind of like watched a little bit of it, and we're like, okay. So why did you choose the time?
I think if you remember, we went back and forth on like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm narrowing it down. What do you think of this guy? And really, what it was tapping into for me was just this long stretch of really high octane nerdery for all things space, physics, time travel.
And people that have listened for a while, they know you. They know that you like that kind of stuff.
That really is wet. Is it appropriate to say "wet my whistle"?
I believe that's when we're preparing people.
Can't do it.
So you say, that's why you decided on that. Ultimately, I gave it to you because I do, like I said, I do watch all of them. So, what are we going to do next, Matt, on our outline that you so rigorously prepared for us?
I did try to put quite a bit of this together. We're going to start breaking down.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start breaking down the pilot. I think is what's next for us.
Okay.
Do we have a promo drop in the middle of this that we need to make sure we do?
Do
you have one? Do I have one?
Here, give me that tablet. I can do it. I know where it is. So this is the promo for this week.
And we're back.
And we're back. So that is the Dog Police. Go ahead and find that in a previous episode from season 16. You will find the Dog Police episode, and you can figure out how to watch that on YouTube. And
You'll know what to do, too.
you'll know what to do, too. That's what I'm saying.
Did I get it?
Yeah, yes, you did. So that is what we have for as far as... God bless you, Matt. Jeez.
I'd like to take this time to apologize.
That was... Wow. You slapped your ass and farted.
Not only would I like to apologize to my family, I'd like to apologize to your family, who I don't know, but I'm sure
listener,
right? And also, well, yeah, I feel like
you know my family.
Yeah, well, I do. I know your wife, and I've met
you know my child.
I've met your son.
You don't know
just
my
a
dog.
lovely young man.
You don't know my dog.
I don't know your dog or your mom.
Does not
or
deserve
your dad. But I'll be making quite a few calls after this.
And listeners, we apologize to you. I apologize on Matthew's behalf.
Thank you so much. That was out of character.
What do we do next?
And I'd like to move on.
Let's move on.
And not belabor this.
We break down the pilot?
Why don't we go ahead and break down this pilot?
Okay, I have my notes, and they're in the other room, so I am going to let you start. It is literally right in the other room.
Why don't I go ahead and get us kicked off? The show opens with, how would I describe it? More or less an interrogation slash a lie detector test that is being given to a gentleman who we really don't meet for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, no, we do not. We do not. This is an anonymous character. He's giving a lie detector test, and he's really kind of like a jerk too. He's just like very jerky about everything. He's like, what do you think I would lie? You think I would lie? Blah 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 blah. And so, what he's doing essentially is giving our main character, Doug Phillips. He's giving him a lie detector test.
That's right.
And we don't know who Doug Phillips is at this point either, really.
No,
Excuse me. I have that backwards. Doug Phillips is giving the lie detector test to a gentleman that we do not understand.
We don't know him, no. And we really haven't been introduced to the main character. But you know how you sometimes get that feel like a main character is being introduced?
He's kind of a douche in this first part.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say. He's just like, yeah, do you like your job? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
like
kind
of giving him...
Give me a lie. And he goes, the sky is green, and he's like, "That's an untruth." Or do you have exactly what he said? What did he say?
He said that you nailed it. He said that's an untruth.
Yeah, he said that. Well, yeah, but he said another thing that wasn't. Whatever, sky's green. Whatever he said, he lied. He goes, "That's not a lie. That's an untruth." So I don't see it on the lie detector.
Yep.
Here's something that will be. Do you like your job? And he goes, "Yes, I love my job." Okay, now we're off to a good start. And he gets a lie. And then the lie detector test kind of, they wrap it up pretty quickly. They just established him as kind of the dominant figure, so you think he might be the protagonist, correct?
It does feel that way. They're setting it up for sure.
Doug Phillips is our guy, protagonist. They're at the U.S. Department of Energy. I don't know if you mentioned that at the
I may
top.
have.
So the U.S. Department of Energy. I'm like, okay, why would they be doing a lie detector test? Anyways.
Yep.
He said, 3 + 4 = 8. That was his thing that he said that was an untruth instead of a lie. 3 + 4 = 8.
Yep.
So him and his partner, Doug Phillips and his supposed partner, are driving away from the scene, and he's listening to this tape, and he's like, the 240 tape or something like that, and he's like, oh, really? You're listening to the 240?
You listening to that?
You're a conspiracy guy like that? And he's like, hey, man, we don't know all the answers. Like, he's just like, you can tell he's like, okay.
He's kind of poking fun that they're even entertaining the idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I just wrote 240 tape ? Because like, what the hell is this? Anyways, they come to a stoplight, and the top color on the stoplight is green.
Oh, very good.
They're stopped at an intersection at the green light. The green is on top.
That's a keen eye.
It's the same. It's the same lineup, and then yellow obviously is in the middle. But then red means go, and he's like, "Come on, this light couldn't be more red than that."
Yep. I'll ask our listeners to just kind of take a special note of that, because you're going to. It's
just weird.
Yeah,
I see that, I'm like, okay, let's get on with the weird shit, right?
Yep.
So
you know what's coming.
Yeah, he gets home. Doug Phillips gets home.
Yep.
Is it weird that you share last name with our main character? Is that why you chose this?
Honestly, I have been accused of being a narcissist. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Okay.
But it's almost like another me chose it.
Yes.
Who is also a narcissist, and then
So,
I'm now
in an alternate reality.
that's right. In a parallel
timeline.
universe. That's it.
An alternate timeline.
And they've just now said that's it. Like a parallel universe.
Like somebody went through a time tunnel and they said, "Hey."
Almost.
Okay.
And this Doug Phillips comes home.
Chasing around his kids.
A married
his son,
man chasing around his kids.
Lewis is the youngest one. I did not catch the daughter's name.
I didn't either.
And I didn't catch the
You
wife's
really
name.
don't.
They don't.
You
she
maybe
do-
only meet her that one time.
You don't meet the daughter, really. He never says the daughter's name, but the
Okay.
little kid's name is Lewis.
Okay.
Don't know why that's significant, but
Yep.
he's got a spoon. I got a spoon. I got a spoon. He's got a wooden spoon.
His wife's running around the house because
She
she's
goes, he's got a spoon.
he's got he's got a spoon, but she's also like dressed to kill because she's like, I gotta make this meeting.
I got to make this meeting. Got to make this meeting.
So he's got to flip from agent mode over into
Dad.
caretaker dad mode.
She
Yep.
says anything but peanut butter this time. And he goes, okay, you got it. Kids, peanut butter, got to do their homework, got it. She goes upstairs. I got to be honest. Doesn't have to go to a meeting. She has a conference call.
That's exactly what
Isn't
it
that
is. Doesn't she
odd?
go upstairs?
She goes
I got to
upstairs,
take this
goes
meeting.
upstairs, yeah.
And by the way, this is 2006. I mean, what's she using up there? Is Skype around yet? No?
I thought you were going a whole different direction,
Oh.
my friend. What kind of...
Can't do it.
No, she's on her phone. They have multiple lines on their phone. We find out in a second.
Very good.
Yeah. So she, he's trying to figure out dinner. They're going over state capitals, which I can really appreciate. I tried to figure out if when he was saying the state capitals,
Yep.
the states were looking different.
Oh, but
they were not.
But you noticed the green light. Did you notice the other drop that they did?
No.
As they're pulling away from that scene,
Okay.
it shows at the bottom 49 states of the
Oh,
United
it does
States
say
of
that?
America.
It does?
But they don't tell us.
Because I see Hawaii and Alaska.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't see. I didn't
if you-
pause it
well,
on that.
if there's a state that you would like, so let me ask you this:
Rhode Island. Get rid of it.
Is it?
Yeah. There's no point.
That's probably top 5 for
Pointless.
me. I don't mean like top 5 favorite
get rid of,
states,
to
but
get
right,
rid of, yeah.
it's on the short list.
Hawaii also get rid of. It's
Is
in
it
the
just
middle
too
of nowhere.
well? Is it too expensive to get there? Like, what if you could get there for like
definitely for sure.
$15?
Yeah. Oh, well then, hey, go for it. But it's not United States. I don't need it to be United States.
Yeah.
Get a passport. Go there. Get a passport.
I think it's Florida for me.
Florida. Well, yeah.
I mean-
you can absorb Florida to Cuba easily, or
I mean,
Bermuda.
a couple hundred miles apart, but also,
Yeah.
like how many? Like Twitter's made this a thing. Florida man.
Florida man. Our friends at the Low Blow
That's
podcast,
it. Adam
Z and Dave Rohn, they have made Florida
They
man.
built the case for this.
They built the case for it.
They really
over
have.
10 years of podcast. They're the longest tenured podcast of all the people that we know.
Kudos to them.
Yeah.
So here we are. The scene is breaking away from him interacting with his kids, and would it be fair to say this is where
Ding dong.
knock on the door, ding dong.
Flynn.
We have another agent, and we have a black Suburban sitting out on the street side.
And then one other agent as the cutoff man from the
From the street to the
from the
like
street
he's
to
gonna
the
make
door.
like
Yeah,
he's gonna bolt.
yeah. Good, thank you. So he goes, dude. So Flynn shows up.
Yep.
And he's like, Flynn. Oh my gosh, I see you, Flynn.
They clearly go back, but they don't really explain to us necessarily. At least at this
Zero
point, yeah, you
explanation.
get nothing.
Yeah.
Although his wife, right?
they never do.
Doesn't she like bust out of the door upstairs?
She
and
busts out the door. She goes, she's on the phone. She's like, honey, can you be Flynn?
I'm trying to Skype up here.
It might have been invented at that point, I think.
It could have been.
But I know what you're talking
Who
about.
are we to
though.
say?
I know what you're talking about. So Flynn shows up. He's like, "Oh, you need to go on a mission," and he just says to his wife, he's like, I guess I'm on assignment," and she just goes, "Okay, go ahead."
Like she gets it.
And that's kind of like me going to do podcasts, and my wife saying, "Okay, go ahead."
I almost asked you earlier. Here we are, two married men, two men with young children in the house.
Correct.
Like, are our wives at home right now changing the locks? I mean, is that a
Yes.
possibility?
Yes, I actually bought a new lock, so she probably.
Oh,
she
I see what you're
probably
saying.
is. I bought a new lock. No, I bought a new lock.
Did you keep a set of keys for that though?
Why would I? Haven't changed it yet. We are planning on changing our locks.
You might be in trouble, bud. This could be.
Fuck me, right?
And we
continue-
We cut right back to Flynn at the door.
Flynn at the- They bring him into a van. Let's just cut to. They bring him into a van. She's like, "Okay, see you later." He closes the door. He opens it back up, gives her a kiss.
That's
Man,
right.
Man
that's
after
right.
my own heart.
That's right.
Don't ever say goodbye without kissing me. I always say that to my wife.
Is it dawning on him, do you think, in this moment that, hey, I don't know what I'm getting myself into.
No, not
Like-
yet. Not yet.
Okay.
He's in the van. They're talking, blah, blah, blah. They go, okay, here you go. Here's the blindfold. He's like, what?
Yeah. But also there's a knockout
lady.
there's a knockout blonde
Yeah, yeah. What's
sitting
her
in
name?
the
Lori?
doctor something.
Lord,
They
Dr.
introduced her as a
Lori or
doctor.
something like that.
Sure.
Gosh, we take terrible modes. I wonder if the captain's ever going to listen to this.
We can only hope that they don't.
Right. So he gets blindfolded. He's like, I have all the highest clearance. They go,
Yeah.
you don't know how high the clearance goes.
Yep. We guarantee you don't have clearance for this.
So he just puts it on. He abides.
Yep.
Shows up in an underground bunker, whatever, blah, 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 blah. This guy's given some weird thing. He's got a problem pronouncing his owls.
Who's this? The owls?
The guy that has the glasses, the scientist.
The professor. Can we pause there for a moment?
He needs to woke on his owls. That's all I need to say.
Do you think he's from, well,
England? One of the Tuckley 10?
could he? Could he
No,
be?
no. He just needs to woke on his
Because
owls.
we've
got a
consciously
speech impediment.
we've consciously broken away from the Tuckley 10 to do this episode.
I come from a family of, my mom is a speech pathologist,
Yep.
and my younger sister is a speech pathologist as well.
Wow.
He needs to woke on his owls. That's all it is.
Well, very
I
good.
believe.
Well, he's also got kind of like a
What's that guy's name in the... now I'm not going to remember it. Inconceivable.
Princess Bride.
His name is something. And you know what? Jason's nephew looks like him. And his nephew is Fox.
Jason's
is
right. Fox.
4 months old.
He looks like this
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah. Inconceivable. It's that guy. His name is like 2 first names.
Well, why you look that up?
Go ahead. Continue.
I'm gonna just a few comments about the professor because he kind of becomes a main character, but he's kind of like got this snarky, I don't know, elitist attitude as
Yeah.
he's being introduced to Doug.
Yeah.
And they're starting to have this conversation as they go down an elevator. That's important. They're going down an elevator.
I made a note that there are a couple of tropes at this point. There have been a couple of tropes, TV tropes that are played out.
Yep.
And in 2006, that's no excuse. That's
Yep.
pretty current. That's 13 years ago. They're already played out at this point. Like, for instance, he was walking. He's like, okay, well, hey, this is a pretty nice place. And he starts walking. And all of a sudden, he just like, they don't follow
Right.
the lead guy. And I'm
Right.
like, just go.
Just-
it's like
just go
the
with him.
stupidest
Just-
blocking ever. It's like, Wallace Shawn is the guy that does it.
Right.
Inconceivable.
Right.
Anyways.
Very good.
So, yeah, they're going down 900 floors, right?
So it's very clear they're really wanting to press on you that they are going underground.
And they say, welcome to the core.
Welcome to the core. And on the way down, Flynn is kind of trying to convince the professor that this is the
yeah,
guy.
this is the guy.
We
Yeah.
want this guy.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all you really need to know. They're talking about history, like, okay, are you sure that he knows history or something? He's like, yeah, this is the guy. He knows all about this battle. As we heard in the summary, it's about the Battle of Hürtgen Forest in Germany.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Are you sure this is the guy? I know, blah, 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 rattles off facts. They enter the core.
They enter
the
the
core. The guy starts saying, okay, blah, 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 here's this time tunnel. It's this massive thing. I don't know if you're a Marvel
Big time.
fan.
Not of the more recent movies. You should be clear. I should be clear.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe. You're not a Marvel Cinematic Universe guy.
No, you've got to go back to the comics for
Okay,
me.
Ant-Man. You know Ant-Man?
Sure.
Have you seen that movie? Mm-mm. Okay, so they have a time tunnel in that movie. I was going to make that comparison if you didn't know that. But it's a big tunnel, and it's like, okay, here is a time tunnel, and there was a time storm. If you're gonna laugh, do it now. And he's like, why would I laugh?
Yep.
And then Flynn's like,
Do you feel like,
did.
I feel like they played up the snark between these two,
Yeah.
to the nth degree.
Yeah, exactly.
And just by the end of it, you're like, okay, we get it. You guys don't like each other.
So basically, the professor who needs to walk on his house says there was a tale in time.
Right.
And it was 4 hours, and it was 240 minutes. So they call it the 240.
Really clever. I believe is actually what the professor ends up saying about that, right?
Really clever.
Really clever. I feel like we're going to have plenty to talk about when it comes to Time for Turbulence.
Yeah,
but boy, Kevmo,
The 240.
Yeah. Would this not
He
be...
was listening to the tapes earlier, the 240 tapes or whatever. It's like, okay, I get it now.
And they never touched like the idea of those tapes again.
No, they never did, and which is weird because it's like, oh, he should be the guy because he has this conspiracy theory
Me by
thing.
the tapes.
But then he doesn't bring up that he knows about the conspiracy at all. So they explain it to him. They need to go back in time. This is the premise.
Yep.
We need to go back in time. Are you gonna be? Are you gonna be on my podcast? Karaoke Biggie? Anytime soon?
I want to take that. I want to take that piece offline. I know I just hit a note right there that
It was tough.
Probably made a lot of us.
It was tough. Soaked, to be honest. So
Can't do it.
can't do it. So they're getting ready to go back in time. Hey, you need to go back in time to this battle. Okay, he knows a bunch about this battle. Of course, they need to go back in time to this battle to stop an intruder, right?
That's a good point, because Flynn was stressing to the professor on the way down. He said, look, he studied this battle, he being Agent Phillips. He studied
knows
it.
all about it.
He knows it. He can take our team.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've got this team now that they want to send through the time tunnel and
To
wait
1944.
for it, intercept a storm, like Kevmo said, a time storm that was created by virtue of mastering hot fusion.
Correct.
So he makes the point to say, you guys are 40 years ahead of
I thought
schedule.
he said hot yoga, but I guess hot
Hot
fusion
yoga?
is what it was. Hot fusion was what it was. I thought it was hot yoga, but yeah, hot fusion.
I think that's a spin-off of this right here.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha. So he says he's going to lead our team. They take him to this guy, the medic or whatever, shoots him real hard in the neck with something. He's like,
That was awesome.
it was, and he's like, okay, that's because you can be translated in real time speaking German, and we can hear you and all that.
It's like infused him with German.
It is just this catch-all for we can
have
see what you're doing, we can hear what you're doing. One shot is a catch-all.
We've taken the full plunge into deep sci-fi right now.
A shortcut.
Yep.
A big shortcut.
Yep.
In my opinion. I wrote down here, for 2000, they're going in the time tunnel. They're going to go back in time. They're wearing the doughboy uniforms, right?
Yep.
And they're going, and like the time is like there's fire going on. I wrote, for 2006, not great graphics.
I definitely want to get to that point in Turbulence.
The thing is, it's brought back, like it's probably recorded from VHS.
Yep.
I'm not talking about the. Oh, excuse me.
God bless you. Now you've captured the essence of
The show is
of
built on the back of my back burps. So
It really is.
What ends up happening is, it's not great quality, obviously, because it comes from a VHS. But the graphics to begin with, no, not great.
I would completely agree with that. I'm going to hold my peace
Until Turbulence. Okay, got
Until
it.
Turbulence.
Target acquired. Whoop. The power goes out. Another TV trope. The power comes back
TV
on.
trope.
Power comes back on. It's just it's full of very typical tropes. They come and it's just like all white out. He's reaching out to a bullet that's coming to him in slow motion. It's like, and then somebody tackles him, and then they are back in, right?
Yep.
So what we're gonna do now, Matthew, at this point in the show, I'd like to hear what you'd like to say.
Yeah. So a long time coming, and I would like to thank our gracious hosts, where their whereabouts are still unknown.
Still unknown, correct.
There's a little piece I'd like to do called MatLibs.
Now, MatLibs is a podcast that has been in limbo for years and years.
I would say a minimum year and a half, going on 2 years. And it comes from a long-time love of the word game MatLibs. And I never really saw the application in the podcast space until Jason and Blake helped me see it. With that all said, what we would like to do for you right now is recreate the scene that we just walked you through.
Correct.
With Agent Phillips walking into the nuclear reactor and the professor having to explain it to him what in the world is going on. Folks, I give you MatLibs.
Welcome to MatLibs, the world's only wordcast, the audio version of your favorite childhood word game. And now, the Matt behind MatLibs, Matthew Phillips.
All right, folks, what is up? What is up? So we just walked you through how in the world this is going to work. And let me give you a quick rundown of how Kevin and I are going to make this happen.
Correct.
So we have taken a piece of the transcript from the movie itself, from the film, the pilot, thank you.
Correct. Yeah.
Itself. And what we have done is removed key words, which we are then going to replace right here for you, and then read it back onto the air.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's how it's going to work. So, Matt, I am going to ask you to ask me verb, noun, whatever, and I will repeat back to you.
We're going to fill them in along the way, so if there's any pauses here, I've asked Kebmo with all his wit to try to help us fill in the gaps.
And I will not do that.
He will not be doing that, folks. But then we will be going down the list. I will be Agent Phillips.
Yeah. So just give me the parts of speech, and I give you words. Is that how this works?
That's all we're doing here, man.
Give me the part of speech.
First, Kebmo, if you could give me a verb that we are going to use twice here off the bat.
Flap. So flapping, flap.
Yep, that works.
Flap. Okay.
Okay, if you could go ahead and give me a time frame.
Okay. I'm going to say 40.
40 it is.
Yeah, 40 is a good time frame.
I need a verb in the past tense.
Rick rolled.
Rick.
Yeah, so Rick rolled would be a good verb there.
Rick rolled.
For sure.
Does that have a wrestling context to it?
No, that's an internet video. Do you not know the Rick rolling? Never
mean-
gonna give you up. Never gonna break you down. Well, I'm sorry. This show is built on the back of these songs. So
that's a note. I just want. I've been working on that,
he grabbed his crotchal region very hard to reach
Under
that,
the
achieve
table.
that note.
and it burst into flames.
Correct. Okay. What else we got?
I'm gonna need a verb that is also an emotion.
Okay, verb that is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say. Oh, verb emotion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Is there a verb emotion here? Oh, I got it.
And we're back.
Staring blankly. Stared blankly. Yeah, that's an emotion.
Stare blankly. It is.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm gonna need a verb in the past tense, Kebmo.
Yeah, I will. I'll give you that. Medicated.
Very good. And how about a second time frame?
Second time frame. I'm gonna say a fortnight.
Beautiful. And go ahead and give me a noun.
I'll give you a noun. How about a sandwich?
We're not even reading this yet. I'm starting to. Yeah. And a place. It can be proper. It can be general. What have you?
How about the womb?
This isn't even supposed to be the funny part.
That's not the funny part.
I would like. How about a plural noun?
The plane is, experiencing.
Someone
a lot of
needs to go check the undercarriage. Check the undercarriage of the plane.
Yeah, something's happening. But anyways,
let's go. Plural noun.
Plural noun.
We'll move this right along.
Niblets.
Very good. I need an adjective followed by a noun.
Adjective followed by a noun. I'll say silky herpes. Silky night. Excuse me. Silky night. K night.
Can we go with herpes?
Yeah, we'll go with herpes. Yeah, silky herpes. Yeah.
And how about another adjective?
Naked.
Very
naked,
good.
Yeah, naked.
And how about a part of the body?
Oh, well, part of the body. That works pretty well. A naked beard. How about beard?
Very good. And one more part of the body.
Part of the body. Let's say elbow.
Very good.
Elbow. Yeah.
We're almost there, folks.
Almost.
Thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah.
I need a verb in the present tense or ending in ing.
A verb in the present tense. Suplexing. Yeah. Let's say suplexing.
Suplexing it is. And
correct.
Last, and yes, it probably is least, a verb in the past tense.
A verb in the past tense. Sharded. Yeah, let's say sharded.
Sharded indeed.
Sharded, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
you've heard the rundown of the words. Now we are going to give you the rundown of this scene.
This scene happened, right in the lab, right, with the guy who needs to
Gets
walk on his
down
house.
right in front of the nuclear reactor. What I'm also going to do here, I didn't tell Kevmo about this, but I'm going to play us a little ambient warp core reactor in the background.
Okay, and then when we do this, I didn't write down the words because you did them like all out order and stuff. So,
Yep.
So you just say the word, even if it's my line. Okay.
Even if it's yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually,
You want to play this? Okay. Thanks.
and folks, we will be back here in just one moment.
Okay. Good.
You got it?
I got it. We're good.
All right, I will be playing Doug Phillips.
Yes.
Kevmo will be the professor.
Yeah.
Doug
sounds good.
Phillips.
Yeah.
Professor, what storm?
You flap your country, don't you?
I flap it, but I'm not in love with it.
4 score ago, we rick-rolled the hot fusion accelerator. It worked with one anomaly. It medicated. It medicated a time storm. If you're going to browbeat it, do it now.
Should I stare blankly?
The storm was unexpected. It's a tear in time, see? When we turned the engine on, when the storm medicated, it took us fortnight to lock down one end. In those fortnight, there were changes the world above, changes in history. We labeled those the sandwich. Clever, isn't it? Down here at the womb, we were protected. We are the only ones who remember how the world used to be before the sandwich. The niblets in the tunnel before you formed a lightning rod of sorts to draw the storm in when we need to.
This is...
Okay.
Okay, great. You've got silky herpes. Good for you.
You're having a hard time with this, yes? Oh, don't be naked. It's because it won't fit into your beard. Because, well, to be plain, it's bigger than your elbow.
Well, Professor, most things are. Let's say you lock down one end of this time storm. Where's the other end?
It's out of control. Suplexing around the past. You see, when it changes events back there, it's sharded forward and changes things in the present. Caterpillar, confidential green.
Kevmo, I have no idea how we segue back out of this.
That happened. So that's the scene.
I feel like that... Does that more accurately capture the scene for you, though?
I think it does. I think it really does. So they go into this time hole. They go in this time tunnel. It like bursts. There's flames. This guy goes, keep walking, keep walking. He's like the Dolph Lundgren of this bitch. He's going through, keep walking, don't throw up, don't throw up. They flash. They're in 1944. Doug Phillips is seeing a bullet come at him. Slow motion, slow motion, slow motion. Some other person in the team tackles him and goes, don't try to touch the bullets.
Yeah, she later
It's a girl. It's a lady.
That's right. She later gets
It's
introduced...
a black lady.
Yep, as a CIA agent...
Yeah.
Who has been asked to enforce one of the few
No matter
rules,
what, yeah.
one of the few rules that they have, that if he does anything to change the course of history by interfering, that she is to take him out.
Correct. So he reaches for the bullet, and she says, don't do that. So what I wrote down here is I'm still unsure of exactly what they need to do. But I do end up, it's clear towards the end. But at this point, I'm still unsure of kind of what they need to do. So the wife tries to call. At this point, no answer. The wife tries to call Doug.
That's right. She does
No
try
answer.
to call him. Yep.
No answer. Then there's pointless battle footage for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Honestly,
they've
it's
kind of
just
landed
pointless
right.
battle footage.
They're on the scene at the Battle of Hurtgen.
I'll save that for turbulence too.
Okay,
you know.
okay. So you're right. They get dropped off in kind of this middle of nowhere, middle of the night, and they immediately start to lean on Agent Phillips to go, okay, where should we start go and looking for this All they know at this time that it's a young man, and we should probably explain this right. The time storm has dropped off this young man.
Different people in different places.
From 1546
yes.
into 1944.
Yeah, so
and on like they're looking at these readings. They're looking at these readings, and they can tell by virtue of the readings that something's not right.
Correct.
So now Agent Phillips has been asked to find him,
Yes.
and he has basically 30 minutes to do so.
Yes, he does. So this is what happens. They have pointless battle footage. They're in a trench.
Yep.
He sees Phillips on a backpack. What's going through your mind as a Phillips in this moment?
My goodness.
He sees Phillips on one of the people that's in the trench on their backpack. They cut to his feed in the control room. They go,
That's right.
They go, what's happening?
By virtue of the shot that
Phillips.
they gave him in his neck, he's now looking at. I guess I'll spoil it.
Go ahead.
He's looking at his grandfather.
His grandfather. I looked up a little bit about this pilot.
Yep.
It was produced in Canada.
Really?
So the grandpa is, I'm assuming, most of these are Canadian actors, I'm assuming.
Sure.
The grandpa lets in a boot slip when he's
Does
talking.
he
He's
really?
Like, well,
He
I was
can't
thinking about this, and
can't
he's
shake the
supposed to be.
aboot.
He's supposed to be a U.S. infantryman, yes, and he does say a boot.
How about that?
He lets it slip. Canadian.
Here's a fun fact. We consciously skip fun facts. Did you know?
Fun facts.
Did you know that when Japan?
Man, these facts are fun.
Oh my goodness! I meant to say interesting, didn't I?
Hey,
Can
you know what?
we edit that out?
Engineer Cody Blake will have to do that. So yeah, no, we did skip interesting facts consciously for the Matt Lib segment.
We did.
But Canadian, Canada.
Canada declared war on Japan before we did after Pearl Harbor.
I believe it.
Interesting fact.
Love Canada.
What's not to love?
Right? Whatever. He talks to his grandpa.
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah. They're like, get out of there. Stop talking to him. You're going to change history. Blah, blah, blah.
He's trying to sort out internally. It's an internal conflict of
They keep
whether
yelling at him,
Yeah.
stop talking to your grandpa.
he's trying to make the decision about whether he should interfere with the past and get his grandpa out of there. The reason he knows about this particular battle
So much.
is because his
grandfather
grandfather
dies.
He dies.
Grandfather dies.
And he's making this decision, do I save him right now or
Which is
not?
so dumb. Don't save him. Come
Yeah.
on, you know it's going to change history. Just go
Yeah.
ahead. It's like, okay, you get to meet him.
He
Be
might
like,
not-
hey, you're a great guy. Give
He
him a
could
kiss on the
erase
lips.
himself.
Give him a
Yes,
kiss on the
from
butt.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do. They go back into a shelter, and they're talking to that bombshell lady, Dr. Lori or whatever.
Yep.
She's like, you don't know what happened
She's good
before
and
the
pi-
240.
She's good and pissed off.
Yeah, you don't know what happened before the 240. I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters before the 240. The 240 happened.
Lost her family.
I was because she was down in the Corps when
Yep.
it happened. Everybody that was in the Corps was like, they did not. They knew the 240 was happening. Everybody else didn't know.
Yep.
They were unaffected. So I come back up after. I'm an only child. You know.
Yep.
He's like, what was I like before the 240? You don't want to ask that question. You don't want to ask that question.
Was that
I'm not gonna
the
answer
Dark
it.
Knight Batman?
Yeah.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Someone pissed on the seat.
But she says, you don't want to know that answer, and don't tell him. Nobody tell him. And then I write, are they going to get going at some point?
They're really not. They have very
They
little
find a
time
monk.
to work with.
They find a monk in the church. Okay, they find the monk in a church,
Yep.
and they're like, okay, here's the monk. Here's the guy. We got to get him out of here.
Yep.
We got to. I assume they were just going to kill him. Whatever. He's translating. They can understand everything because of the thing in their
That's
neck.
right.
And he's saying blah 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 blah. The death. Something. I'm here. The death. And they go, what does that mean? What does that mean? Translate. Can we get a secondary translate? Oh, the death. The Black Death. And they're like, oh shit, he's got the plague.
He's got the plague.
He's got the plague.
The time storm has dropped off a 16th century young man into the 1944 Battle of HITCH,
Yeah.
and it's about to run amok, take out the Axis, take out the Allies, you name it.
So, what do they do to cure this man of the Black Plague? They shoot him with a shot of amoxicillin.
I think they might actually say penicillin.
Penicillin. I thought it was amoxicillin.
It very well could be.
We need to plug in that tablet, and we have an assistant. The baggage boy actually is gonna help us with
We
that.
actually, now Blake and Jason don't do this very often, but we actually allowed DSJ on this flight.
We did, yeah.
So
he's actually helping, yeah.
He practically ran into
did.
the plane.
He did.
He actually did run into the plane, and then corrected course and came and made it up the steps.
Yeah, we got him in here, so he's actually helping with the plugging in there. So yeah, they shoot him with an antibiotic, and
he's instantly cured.
He's cured, and so they're like, okay, well, he should be good, and they're like, we're still seeing time ripples. We're still seeing time ripples.
The storm is still. And this is going to get a bit layered. We'll try to do our best to navigate it here for you. Mm-hmm. But the reason that they're seeing time, and the reason that they're still seeing these time ripples, what they're expecting to see when they shoot him with the amoxicillin is
antibiotic.
That right,
basic antibiotic,
right?
That could have cured the Black Plague.
That could have, if they had only known.
Yeah, right.
Basically, they're still seeing these readings that they were expecting to go away because they cured the young man of the disease. Mm-hmm. But because German soldiers had broke in...
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic man myself. We were talking about this off pod before. I know a lot of things about the Catholic culture. So here's the thing. They say, okay, he, what the deal is, he, what did you do? What did you do? How did you spread this to anybody else besides this lady that you touched? And we already shot her too. We all changed our clothes, all that. Oh, he looks at it and sees the baptismal font and he goes... Did you dip your hands into the water, the holy water? And he goes, well, yeah, of course.
Yep.
And he goes, this church has been home to many German soldiers.
That's it.
When they're coming through. We got to shoot up these soldiers and not shoot them up with bullets.
Nope.
But with antibiotics.
With modern medicine.
Yeah. So
they shoot them right in the neck.
They knock these people out and they just like, right.
Some German soldiers have rather broke into. There's a scene where they've broken in.
Yeah.
And kind of like, almost like pompously taken the holy water and splashed it on his face.
Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah.
Him and his soldiers do. Now they leave the scene, and that is what has caused the plague to also. That's right, the ripple. So they chase these folks down outside the grounds of the church in the woods.
Yeah.
They manhandle them.
Soldiers,
grown,
beat them within inches of their lives.
Soldiers, and stab them in the neck with amoxicillin.
And they're cured. And then they go, the ripples are gone.
The rebels are gone.
Get back to home base.
Get back to home.
So the monk, he's saying, oh, I was at Vespers, and what happened
Are we not going to comment on the bowl cut, though?
Yeah,
it's a wicked bowl cut.
He is a Friar Tuck himself. Let me tell you. He's a Friar Tuckley, if you will.
Shout
out Chris Tuckley.
Well played.
Shout out Chris Tuckley. So, yeah, he's carrying the plague, whatever. He gets dips it in there. I'm just going over my notes here, and that's it. So they're coming back. They go, okay, we're about to come back. 10, 9, 8. Doug goes, he shoves the monk to the lady who had found him in the first place and said...
Who was more or less caring for him.
Mm-hmm. Here you go. Go live your life with this lady. I don't care. There's no more ripples, so it doesn't matter.
But they don't freak out because apparently, in order for the storm to intercept them, they had to have been given
one of those things,
a shot of some kind.
Didn't shoot the monk.
Okay, so they didn't. See, I was under the impression they did. So they do. They leave him behind. When they had orders to bring him back.
Yeah, they leave him behind. Doug made that decision.
Doug is rogue, man.
Right before one of the members of the team, Flynn, actually dies. He's about to die, right? And he goes, you know what you were like before the 240? You were a loner. You had nothing going on.
You had nothing.
Just 2 weeks ago, I saw you, and you were thinking about killing yourself. I don't know, whatever. You were depressed.
Yeah, he was, yep.
And he goes, the 240 gave you family. It gave you family.
So they, these 4 hours or 240 before the professor and his team could lock it down, ran amok. It did some good. It did some bad. In Agent Phillips' case,
it did some great.
It gave him a family.
Gave him hope, gave him life.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so now he's aware of this.
He's aware of it, and so he says, thank you, Flynn. Goodbye, you're dead.
And we lose Flynn. Moments afterwards, though, the storm has intercepted. You see leaves blowing up. You see the church get blown apart.
They come home, whatever. He goes back to his house. He's like, oh, hello.
He's making sure his family's not gone.
He's afraid that his family is still there.
Yeah.
And his son comes in, and his son's name is still Lewis. Why is his son's name not Flynn? Flynn?
Oh, like he would have had a chance to...
Come on. Why is his son's name not Flynn?
Yeah.
I don't get it. So he's like, hey, Lewis. I'm like, oh, fuck you. It should be Flynn. Anyway, so they show up. His family's back. He's back. He takes a call from Dr. Lori or whatever, and she's like, the 240, blah, 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 blah. They tie it up into a nice bow.
Yep.
And That's it. That's all we get.
Basically where we end.
The time tunnel.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence. Please make sure your seat.
That's how it works.
That's got to be close, doesn't it?
Turbulence.
Turbulence. Plenty of it.
Why
Kevmo.
didn't this work, Matt? Why did this not work? In your opinion, why did this
You bet.
pilot
You bet.
not work?
I'm collecting my thoughts here only for a moment. I think what you have here.
And what would you do to improve it if it didn't work? Yeah. And where would you like to see it go if it survived?
If it were
All
to
three of those.
survive. I think there is only so much talent. I think there is only so many elite writers, directors. And
They
what
can't all be Greg Garcias.
that's it.
They can't all be Greg Garcias.
I caught myself thinking, I love the premise, even though it's been done many, many times before.
Yeah.
You and I were laughing about it the other night about how even The Simpsons did a nod to this when
Oh, yeah.
Homer goes spilling through time,
trying
not to squish a fish. I wish I wouldn't have squished that fish. And here we are with the time tunnel, trying to take themselves a little too seriously.
Yeah.
Without, I'll call it the firepower of a great cast. Who is this Doug Phillips? I've never seen him before.
Dave Conrad.
Nobody's anchoring this show.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if it's
You need
going
star
to be,
power. Is basically what you're saying is you need star power.
especially for something that's been done before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially for something that's been done.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm going to say about this show, what didn't work for it, unnecessary and excessive battle footage. You could have cut this down from a 50-minute pilot to a 30-minute pilot.
Easy.
No,
50
no
minutes
chance.
was too long.
They did have, sometimes I found myself at the end saying, excuse me, I found myself at the end saying, you know what? They did need that time to flesh out some of the details.
Yep.
But you could have been more efficient with your use of dead time in this.
Can I do some, for example? Can I do a for example here?
Please.
Instead of that long, drawn-out battle footage at the beginning,
Yes.
how about some of the crazy cool science that they're trying to draw from?
Thank you.
That they could have, instead of having a snarky professor,
Yes.
talk about his lunch, which is part of this, how about he,
Indeed.
for the listenership, talk a little bit about hot fusion basically being something that is probably within...
Hot fusion! Ready to see. Got a fever of 103. Thank you.
So there's so much
Thank
cool
you.
science. Everything from hot fusion to the potential for time travel. I mean, I could go on, and they just blow right by it because, gosh darn it,
I agree.
we need to have some long, drawn-out 1944. If I want that, I'm going to go watch Band of Brothers, Kevin.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
And I thank you. Hello. Kevin, where do you want to take it from here, man?
How would I improve it? Less battle scenes, cut it down to 30 minutes. I don't know if this could go anywhere. That really does. I really don't know if it can go anywhere. But it could, though. I think it could, but it kind of wrapped itself in a nice, neat bow at the end.
That's it. Didn't
That's
this
cool.
kind of feel standalone to you at the end of it?
But you could decide to make more of the time tunnel and make it more thing. I mean, they did establish the characters, so you could, if you have those characters going forward, you can make a show out of it.
I don't see this as weekly. I see this in current state.
Yeah.
I see this more as if
Give me a
if this
sequel.
were 2019, sure. A sequel, or maybe, you know how they're doing the masterpiece, the BBC, there's Sherlock Holmes. They're doing
Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Well played. They're doing 3 1.5-hour episodes.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, miniseries.
And I really feel like
Netflix it, baby.
I don't need this for 16 weeks. I maybe need 3 good episodes.
That's like 2016, dude. I mean, or 2016. 2006. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
There was not enough for it. So, yeah, let's wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
So we got to get the IMDb score for this and some viewer reviews and all that, right?
Don't you worry, I got that right here in front of me.
Sounds good.
Kebbo, I'm going to give you a chance here to take a stab at how kind or unkind IMDb was
I think
to
it's
the.
IMDb is what we established.
You
a
said that
little before,
earlier,
yeah.
didn't you?
It's
See,
okay.
it didn't
It's
stick
okay.
for me
No,
yet.
it's okay. It's okay.
IMDb.
Our faithful captain, who we once again don't know if he's alive or dead.
We are sitting on
Captain
pins
Rescher-
and needles.
We are. Captain Rescher, he usually goes with a 6.5. I'm going to jump that up just a touch to 6.8.
Did you see this? I gotta ask.
No, I didn't.
Like, you didn't. Nailed it.
I cheated.
Dang it. I knew it. I knew it.
I cheated.
I knew it.
Sorry. It was very close to 6.5. I mean, I could have made that argument. I'm a good
sold
improv.
it, though.
I'm a good improviser, and I could have let you believe that I did, but I didn't.
He is a world-class improviser, folks.
So 6.8. What do we got as far as viewer reviews, all that kind of stuff? How many ratings?
So boy,
I think it's 274.
it
6.8
was
out of
in the neighborhood.
274.
Yeah, it was in the neighborhood of a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read a handful. I'm not gonna read them.
Photographic
in their
memory.
It's amazing.
6.8 out of
It's amazing.
274. I bet you.
David M says, "Excellent for a pilot." The characters are as
Period.
fleshed out.
That's it.
Yeah. Period.
For a pilot.
And that's all I have for him.
No,
Thank you, David.
Continue for David M.
The characters are as fleshed out as they can be in 50 or so minutes, while still having time to explain the concept for the tunnel itself, which looks great. David, I'm afraid I disagree. I found myself looking for Lee Merriweather or James Darren in the background someplace.
Right? Give me a good actor. You were saying that.
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody.
Somebody to
Somebody
anchor
with a
this
name.
show.
Somebody with a
I'm
name.
going to fast forward a little bit for David M here because
Okay.
I highlighted
long
a
review,
piece of it.
yeah.
Right. I still wish someone would start a network. I want to say, this is quite the nod to what would later be
The Sci-Fi
Couch
Network?
Pilots. No, Couch Pilots themselves.
No way.
I still wish someone would start a network that shows nothing but unaired pilots.
This is the network, baby. Passionately fuchsia links.
Some of them are fascinating.
Click on them.
David M., if you're out there, and if you're still with us, I don't know.
Rest in peace.
Well, sure.
If you're not,
he might have been abducted. What are the odds? I feel like they could.
he's
be
on the same thing with Harrison Ford, right?
Yes,
he could be.
I mean,
he
what-
could be in the same place as Harrison Ford.
Without my family.
Harrison Ford is not leaving without his family. One of which is David M.
Correct. What else we got for viewer review?
Richard Perez.
Perez.
Did I like Hilton Perez?
Knifey Perez. You remember that baseball player? Is Hilton Perez a guy? Oh no, Perez Hilton.
Perez
I
Hilton. I say
No, it's Perez. It's
no,
Perez.
I say everyone's name like I'm reading off.
Attendance.
Yeah, like attendance for class. It makes a lot of people uneasy. But
You remember Knifey Perez? He was a baseball player.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a knifey.
Did he play? Did he play with Barry Bonds at any point?
Yeah, I'm gonna knife you. Knifey Perez.
That's why his career was shortened.
Tragically.
Yeah.
Like Bruiser Brody, stabbed in the showers in Puerto Rico as a wrestler.
I think he stabbed Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla still getting paid to this day. You know that.
What is that? But who's the contract from again? Is it from the?
I think it's
the
from the
Royals?
Giants or something like
Oh,
that.
so the Giants?
The Mets. Oh, the Mets. Yeah, the
Oh,
Mets.
it is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Mets. That guy's got it made.
Knifey Perez.
Too bad he got stabbed.
Knifey Perez. He is definitely retired at this point. Last season was in 2007, so he was actually probably watching this pilot.
Wow. Okay,
God bless him.
So maybe
Go ahead,
his first name though was Richard, right?
Richard Perez. Let's hear.
So
let's
let's call Knifey Richard.
Yeah.
Despite the negative reviews listed on this site, I found this pilot, only 60 minutes, not 120, to be interesting and worthy of more exploration. Despite its similarity to Stargate, and that's why I chose this, Kebmo.
Yeah,
Does that resonate with you? I didn't watch any Stargate.
It doesn't resonate with me, but I understand Stargate.
Okay. The
I
premise.
didn't watch it, but I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a similar premise.
Okay. The premise is workable and deserves another shot. Perhaps sci-fi can take this pilot and build on it. If I believe this was meant for Fox.
I looked it up when I was looking for interesting facts. I couldn't find.
I
what
came
network
across
was
it
picked
one
up. Yeah.
time, and it was in a review even, and someone
Probably
threw
for
out Fox.
Yeah,
Yep.
probably for Fox. Okay.
And then I highlight this piece from Richard Perez. It might be interesting to bring in a weekly guest specialist
Right?
who travels through time with the team to correct errors in the timeline. Well, here it is. Here it is. Fox's loss
There you
could
go.
be sci-fi's gain.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
Do you agree with that? I mean, could
agree.
that
I agree.
to
Yeah.
improve the show?
This could be a sci-fi show all day because they do those hour-long, 2-hour-long shows that are like once a month.
Yep.
Like, they release them really slowly or 3-parters. They do that all the time. And this is definitely a sci-fi show.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. That's good viewer reviews. That's what I say.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
As we make our descent and land, Matthew, I turn to you and ask you, on a scale, what is this scale based on?
Sure. First of all, do you know what I realized?
What's that?
I didn't play the reactor music when we were doing
You didn't do it. That's fine.
Gosh darn it.
It's okay. So,
Rookie.
How many numbers are on this point scale?
So we've got 7.
Okay,
And it's based on, and I didn't watch this growing up, but
Neither did I.
okay. But it's based on
It's the best show ever.
television show Wings,
Wings, yeah, correct.
right?
Now, you got your number 1,
You got yourself a Roy Biggins.
Roy Biggins. Number 2,
You've got yourself a Faye Cochran.
correct. You got number 3,
Antonio Scarpacci.
Number 3.
I'll go to number 4 for you.
How about number 3? Number 4. Number 4,
Joe Hackett.
Joe Hackett. Now, I had Helen Chappell there, but we might have messed them up. That's fine. That's fine. Number 5.
Okay. A Lowell Mather.
Lowell Mather, replaced by Helen Chappell, I believe. Number 6.
A Bud Bronsky.
Bud Bronsky is definitely number 6. And in number 7,
One Brian Hackett.
Brian Hackett.
And that's the top of the mountain.
Coolest guy.
Yeah.
Coolest guy. Roy Biggins. Brian Hackett.
Roy's at the bottom. Brian's at the top. Sandwiched in there, nod back to our Mad Lib segment, is a Joe Hackett.
Correct.
Rounding up.
Correct. Now, I turn to you, Matthew. What do you rate The Time Tunnel?
Yep.
2006's The Time Tunnel.
I feel like I'm going to be a little bit of a snob with this rating.
Okay.
Because I wanted more from this.
Okay.
I felt like there was some low-hanging fruit that they didn't grab, explain the science.
We need some low-hanging fruit.
He has a gift, folks. Don't deny him this gift.
It's a sneaky caboose.
If anyone's trying to fast forward through this, I know who you are.
I got your high-five sound and don't look back to dead jukes.
And we will find you.
I want some low-hanging fruit.
And I'm going to sit there while you listen to this.
Okay.
I think I just threatened the listening audience.
I think you did.
I didn't mean for it to go there.
I apologize. Not gonna do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
That's right, Iron Mike. I won't drop trow in front of my own team trying to inspire them.
Anyways, what's your rating? Let's hear it. Give it to me. Give it to me
They
straight.
frown on halves.
Give it to me gay. Give it to me straight. Excuse me. Give it to me straight. Sorry.
Like you had your own MatLib segment over there.
It's 2019.
I'm gonna go. I feel like I'm generous giving it a 3. To be perfectly honest,
Give it to me
with
by.
you. I'm giving
3.
it an Antonio Scarpaccio.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
And again, my reason: low hanging fruit. They missed it. Would you give these guys a budget and go out and find a real actor?
It'd be great.
Or two
It'd be great.
and explain some science? Just pretending that everybody knows what a gosh darn hot fusion reactor looks like.
Matthew, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give this a 3.
There we are.
I'm going to give it a 3. It's not good enough to cross the threshold of over 50%.
Right.
I really enjoyed this, but it left so much to be desired.
A lot of meat on the bone, Kevin.
There's nowhere that it could go, in my opinion, okay, in 2006.
Yep.
Now, maybe, but there's nowhere it could go in 2006. And also, it just tied in a neat little bow. It couldn't go anywhere. Star power.
Yep.
Unnecessary battle scenes. I mean, that's all it is. And that's the perfect storm for me to give this a 3.
Wow.
So
Well said, sir. Well
with
said.
those ratings, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys to go to couchpilotspodcast.com. Couchpilotspodcast.com is a one-stop shop, if you will. Have you ever heard that term before?
One-stop shop?
Did I make that up?
Oh, no, that's a thing.
I think
You don't think it's a thing?
Maybe Jason said that for the first time ever.
One-stop shop?
Yeah.
No, it's where you get everything.
No,
it's like
Jason said that for the first time ever. Never mind. Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, you're right. He coined that.
That's high praise.
One-stop shop. CouchPilotspodcast.com. Go ahead and do that. If you want to call in to the listener line, it is 910-PILOTS-1, which is, Matt, do you know it? I know it.
I'm going to give it back to you, Kevmo.
Okay, 910-910-745-6871. Please call in there. We need some voicemails. 910-745-6871. I want to hear some voicemails for Matthew and I on the next episode.
Let's hear it, folks.
Hey.
We are auditioning right now. You should know. The feedback that you provide may just very well be life or death for us in
Correct.
this Air Force One cockpit.
Correct.
We do wish Blake and Jason a safe and sound recovery.
Well, we don't know if
Even if they're still with us?
Yeah, I mean, they could have passed.
From
that summary alone, I believe Blake has
based
passed.
on the Harrison Ford films I've seen.
He crashes planes.
So you're saying it's unlikely?
It's unlikely, but guys, don't unsubscribe because you might get that sweet episode next week on Monday. I don't know. Don't know.
You very well could.
very
Or
well could.
we may find ourselves with the burden of responsibility to fly this vessel week after week.
And I would dare to say that Jason and or Blake would prefer that we did.
Or did not.
And that's a dab here and a dab there, baby.
So, folks, as we begin to wrap up, we would like to thank both Jason and Blake, if they still are around to
If
be
they're
thanked.
still with us.
That's right. Jason and Blake, when and if you do hear this, a huge thank you for not only letting us submit our essays,
Correct.
but also to be chosen as
Hey,
pilots for
essay.
this. See, I didn't do mine right then.
Hey, I say. Here's a joke.
Oh, boy.
Teacher tells a student, hey, you got to do an essay. She comes back to the teacher and goes, hey, I'm pregnant.
Can't do it.
Boom. I was waiting for that. No, don't do that yet. Sorry.
Oh, boy. Folks,
Essay. Okay, go ahead.
like I said,
Thank you to Blake and Jason for letting us take over Air Force One. It is a huge responsibility. We did not talk enough about that.
We really
up
didn't,
top because it is flying a GD plane.
It is.
Okay, that is a tough responsibility, and we landed.
Is it
We
off-
landed.
Yeah, thank God.
We took off and we landed because
right.
I did everything. You know what? I got us up.
I think I got us up.
Oh,
No,
you know what?
and
I did everything in the middle.
You know, somehow, and then I got it back down.
Correctly.
You know what I would say to that is, like, would it be off color to make one recommendation to our
color?
gracious hosts? I don't know, fuchsia?
Fuchsia.
Did we already do that?
Passionately
Asian fuchsia?
It would not be off color to give our hosts props. What are you
I
trying to
do.
say?
Well, I was concerned that there was not, as a first responder, I was concerned that there was no AED on the plane.
We should give them feedback about that.
I mean, if Blake's health continues to decline,
He does have a cancer, so it would be beneficial for him to have an AED.
now do you think they would hook the pads right to his undercarriage?
I think that that's the only way to do it.
Because
Clear. Clear.
We almost got through this, folks.
We don't need to put
Without
the gel
ba-
on these
without
paddles.
toilet humor.
We don't need to put the gel on these paddles. We already got some down there.
Clear. We're gonna have to check with the American Medical Association,
Cancer Society.
and yeah, we really should. The ACA also, as far as where to apply an AED for someone with anal cancer.
We do. Well, I think we'd be doing a disservice to our lovely hosts if we did not. Well, I mean,
But more
who
on
know-
that
who
next
knows-
time.
Who knows? Yeah, more on that next time. Yeah, that's for sure. And Matthew, I'm going to throw this to you.
Please. Oh, I thought you had a comment. for me.
7BI. 7BI.
Boy, we're really falling apart. Thank God the wheels are on the ground. He's throwing it back to me.
7.
Seven.
I.
This pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Join us next week as we review the pilot
We have no idea. And here's a quick breakdown,
of We Have No Idea.
as Jason would say, to wet your whistle. Ever.
On this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the
Ever.
near future. Have a
Ever.